another video. So I wanted to come on here really quick. If you guys have not checked out my birth story, make sure you guys check that out. It's so wonderful. It's very quick, very simple. I don't give like full times of everything that happened, but it is my birth story. But I did want to come on here and talk to the ladies with preeclampsia or high blood pressure at the very end of their pregnancy. When I was in the hospital, I did not have a lot of information on that, and I was so scared. So I want to just touch on that to give you guys a little bit of insight and a little bit of breathing room, and so you guys aren't scared or anything like that. So the whole time I was pregnant with my son, I did not have high blood pressure at all. I didn't have any problems. I've never had high blood pressure a day in my life. On the 16th of August, the day before my son was born, I started to feel funny, and my signs and symptoms were just like I had headaches, and I just felt off. You know, you listen to your body, you know your body, and I just felt off. So I went ahead and I went to go to get my blood pressure taken, and it was elevated. It was like 138 over 90 or something like that. 120 over 90, something into that effect, but it was high. So I went ahead and I went to doctors and I got admitted, and then that was my whole birth story, which you guys can watch in the video. I'll leave that link down in the description box. So they released me. I had my son on the 17th. They released me on the 18th to come home. They sent me home with a blood pressure cuff and a piece of paper where you write like what your blood pressure is. They let me know that if my blood pressure, that the bottom number was over 100 to immediately come in, and if the top number was over, I think 150 or something like that, or 140 to come in. So I went home and I was taking my blood pressure. I was home for 3 days, I want to say. I was home for maybe like 3 days. And I was taking my blood pressure 3 or 4 days. The day before I went back to the hospital, my blood pressure was high, and it just seemed like it just wouldn't go down. I was hearing like taking cool showers, just kind of like relaxing, doing skin to skin would help lower your blood pressure. My blood pressure was still high. So I went ahead, the very next day, my mom came over and she was helping me a lot with the baby. She came over and she took my blood pressure. She was like, I'll just come over and help you with the baby, you know, so you don't have to stress it too much, because that will obviously cause your blood pressure to go up, right? So she came over and she helped me, and it was time for me to take my blood pressure, and it was just ridiculously high. It was like 140 over like 102 or 103 or something like that. So I went and I took a cool shower. I did skin to skin with the baby. I just kind of breathed. I relaxed. I listened to nice music, trying to lower my blood pressure. I went back in because they told you if it's high, wait like 10 minutes and then retake it again. So that's what I did, 10 to 30. I think it was like 15 to 30 minutes, something like that, to go ahead and take it again. And so I did, and it went up. It was at like 150 over like 110. It was just like ridiculously high. I started to gain a harder headache, and my mom was like, you know what, no, we need to go in. There's no way that it's gonna lower. We don't want anything happening to you, so let's go. So we went ahead and we went into urgent care, and from urgent care they took my blood pressure. It started to dip a little bit. It was about it was like 140 over like 99 or something like that. It was still very high. So they had me go get blood work done. As soon as they would have me go get blood work done, they told me, if you ever, because my headache had went away, they're like, if you feel like your headache is coming back, immediately come back to urgent care. I said okay. So I went and got my blood work done. I went back to the hospital. The laboratory is at the hospital. So I went and got my blood work done, went and waited in a car because they told me that it would take some time for the blood work to come back, about an hour. But they told me that if I started to feel like I had a headache, then to go back to urgent care. So that's what I did. I started to feel like I had a headache again. So I went into urgent care and I just told them like, hey, you know, I feel like I'm getting a headache again. Can you guys check my blood pressure? So instead of checking my blood pressure, they had me wait. They gave me 2 Tylenol. I still had a headache. And at this point, my blood pressure headache felt like it was coming from here all the way to the back. It was like more in the back and the top. And it was like I had like a migraine. The lights, the sound, everything was just too much. So they told me just to wait in like the triage room. I went in the triage room in urgent care and an OBGYN because the hospital was like right next. So OBGYN came in and she came to talk to me and she said, unfortunately, I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you have eclampsia. And what that is that you didn't have high blood pressure through the whole period of your pregnancy, but you're having high blood pressure after pregnancy, and that is a real thing. So I'm coming here, you guys, today just to let you guys know and to get you guys aware of the things that can happen with eclampsia. So after she came in, she told me, you know, you have eclampsia, so we're going to have to admit you. We're going to have to put you on a magnesium drip. You're going to have to do a bolus of magnesium, and then you're going to need to be on magnesium for 24 hours. So, and we're going to have to put you on high blood pressure medication. She was telling me because maybe of my weight, that's another reason why it affected me the way that it did. But with my daughter, I was actually heavier. No, I was the same. No, with my son, I was heavier. I'm sorry. But, I was more heavier with my son because I was so swollen. The minute that I decreased all my water had came out, I was a lot smaller. So I want to say I was a lot smaller with my son than I was with my daughter. Health-wise, I was a lot healthier with my son than I was with my daughter. So it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter anything. It can happen to you. So once she let me know that, what the good thing is about it is that they let me bring my son with me. They could not care for him, but they had like a little like the little like bassinet, hospital bassinet thing that the baby sleeps in when you first have your son, your child, your son or your daughter. They had one of those for me in there. There was full with Pampers and onesies and like little sucky bulbs and everything like that. But they just did not care for him. They were only supposed to care for me. But they allowed me to have him in there so I could still breastfeed him and do the things that I need to do to care for him. Because being away from your child that you just had can cause stress and cause your blood pressure to go up more. So, which was really nice that they were able, that can happen. There's somebody else on YouTube. I did not find a lot of information about it, so that's why I really wanted to come on here and let you guys know what can happen and the things and that it'll be okay. There was another lady on YouTube and the same thing happened to her, and she was able to bring her baby. So if you guys are having these type of issues, it'll be okay. So from there, they let me bring the baby in with me, and immediately they gave me IV. I was so swollen, guys. They couldn't find they couldn't find veins in my hands. They couldn't find veins in my arms. Nothing. And I have really good veins. I'm a phlebotomist, so I have really good veins, and they couldn't find anything. I couldn't even find anything because I was so swollen. So the minute that they admitted me into the hospital, as soon as I got into the room, they gave me the magnesium, 1 bolus of magnesium, and then they gave me then I was on the magnesium for 24 hours. The magnesium makes you feel icky. It makes you feel like, have you ever had a fever or had the flu and it's pretty much going away, but you still feel it lingering? And you feel kind of like warm and tingly, but you just don't feel like, you just feel like all you want to do is like bundle up and drink some tea. That's how the magnesium made you feel. It made you very sleepy. The whole time I was in the hospital, I did not sleep. I maybe have slept like maybe the whole total time, and I ended up being in the hospital for 2 days, 3 days, or 2.5 days. Um, I want to say I slept for like maybe like 12 hours. Um, if you guys don't know, the less that you sleep, the more it can elevate your blood pressure as well. Just stress of being in the hospital can elevate your blood pressure. So the minute that they put me on the magnesium, the minute that they put me on the drip, they prescribed me the high blood pressure medication, and so I was taking that while I was in the hospital, and everything like that. The only thing is, a lot of times the high blood pressure medication that they prescribed to me was safe for my son because they knew that I was breastfeeding. I do, and I can admit that when I was on the magnesium drip, he was just as sleepy as I was. The magnesium is supposed to help to prevent seizures and stroke while you're on a magnesium, I think. I know it's supposed to prevent seizures, but I don't know if it's supposed to prevent a stroke. But the magnesium is supposed to help with your high blood pressure. So I was on there, and at the 24-hour mark, before they were supposed to let me discharge me, they were supposed to take my blood pressure. They took my blood pressure, and it was just, it had skyrocketed. It would not go back down. It was at like 145 over like 110. So they had to keep me another day, and I had to stay on the magnesium for another day. So they put me on magnesium for another 24 hours. They did more blood work, and they tested my blood all the time, constantly. And then they didn't really change my medication, but they noticed that once I did take my blood pressure medication, my blood pressure would drop. So the doctor came in. She said that she was very comfortable with me going home. She didn't have any problems with me going home after they gave me that next 24 hours. So I was on magnesium for a full of 2 days, and I was in the hospital for, so basically almost a full, I was in the hospital for like 2.5 days. So I got a bolus of the magnesium and then 24 hours of magnesium drip. She came in, the doctor came in that morning after the last 24 hour, and she told me that she felt very comfortable with me being able to go home. There was nothing really else that they could do. They could continue to monitor me, but I could monitor myself at home. The minute that my blood pressure would go up, that they would just have me just come back to the hospital. So they sent me home with my prescription, and when I got home, my blood pressure was still, it was stable, but it was still high. It was like 130 over 90, and it would not go lower than that, or 140 over 90. One of the two. But the bottom number, the diastolic, is what is the most important, and that number was still kind of high. So eventually, it came to a point where I just told myself, if I get a headache, and this is what she told me, if you get a headache and you take Tylenol and it doesn't go away, then take your blood pressure. And I got postpartum headaches as well. So I was getting headaches a lot. So what I did was, when I did come home, I took my blood pressure the first 2 days while I was at home. And then after that, I told myself, I'm not going to take my blood pressure no more. And if I ever feel, I know that the feeling that I get when I have, my blood pressure is high, I'll take it. If I don't feel that way, or if I don't have a headache, I'm not going to take it. And the only reason why I did that was because it was stressing me out, knowing that my blood pressure was high, which was causing my blood pressure to go up higher, right? So I just didn't do that anymore. I took my blood pressure medication every single day as I was supposed to. And when I went in for my postpartum checkup, they took my blood pressure, and it went back down to normal. It was like 117 like over 60. So I am living proof that if you're in the hospital, because I know I was in the hospital and I was looking up high blood pressure after pregnancy. If you're in the hospital or you're going through this, everything will be okay. Just do what you're supposed to do. Follow the instructions that they give you. You will make it through this. It is the most scariest situation, especially if you've never had any healthcare concerns. The most scariest situation that you can ever go through. But especially with having a new baby, I know when I was thinking, I was like, oh my God, I don't want to die. I just had a baby. I just had my son. I have my daughter. I have my husband. I don't want to be, to the point where I'm not here anymore. But at the same time, I'm just like dramatic too. But It'll be okay. Just make sure you take your blood pressure like you're supposed to. Make sure you take your medication like you're supposed to. Advocate for yourself. If you don't feel comfortable going home after your baby and your blood pressure is high, do not go home. That's one thing that I was so quick to go home, to be at home with my son, that I should have advocated for myself, and I should have had them check and make sure that I was safe enough to go home. So, yes, advocate for yourself. Everything will be okay. It happens. It happens to a million women. But you'll be fine. You'll live through it. You'll be able, you just need to be healthy enough to take care of your child that you just had. So, I hope this video helped you guys in any way, shape, or form. Give this video a thumbs up for all the information that I gave you guys. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel. Share this video with any friends or family that is going through the same situations. And I hope to see you guys again in the next video. Bye.